The last letter. Oliver Marsh had always believed that life gave second chances until the morning. He found the letter, taped to his apartment door. The envelope was thin, the handwriting unfamiliar, yet something about it made his hands tremble. He stepped inside, locked the door behind him, and tore it open. "You don't know me, but I know what you lost. If you want the truth, come to Alder Bridge at sunset. No signature, no explanation, just the truth. Something Oliver had been chasing for 2 painful years. His younger brother, Ethan, had vanished one rainy night in October. Police assumed he ran away, but Oliver never believed it. The city had swallowed him, and every dead-end lead only deepened the hole Ethan left behind. That evening, Oliver drove toward Alder Bridge, a rusted structure stretching over a slow, dark river. Fog curled above the water like pale fingers, and the setting sun threw long shadows across the wooden planks. Someone was waiting at the center, hood up, hands in pockets. Oliver approached cautiously. "Did you write the letter?" The figure nodded and raised his head. A sharp, pale face with tired blue eyes met Oliver's. "My name is Caleb," he said quietly. "I was Ethan's friend." Oliver's heart lurched. Where is he? What happened to him? Caleb exhaled shakily, as if every word weighed him down. "We used to hang out behind the old factory on River Road. One night, Ethan saw something he shouldn't have. Some men, dangerous men. They were moving shipments through the warehouse. Illegal things." Caleb swallowed hard. "They caught us watching." A chill ran through Oliver's spine. "Where is my brother now?" he demanded, voice cracking. Caleb looked toward the river, unable to meet his eyes. "They didn't mean to hurt him. They wanted to scare us. But Ethan ran, slipped on the wet platform, and..." His voice broke. He fell into the river. Oliver staggered back as if the wind had struck him. "No," he whispered. "No, Ethan couldn't have." He would have called. Someone would have found him. Caleb shook his head. The current was strong. They searched the water before the police ever knew. They hid what happened. A numbness spread through Oliver's body, cold, empty, swallowing him whole. All this time he had imagined Ethan alone, frightened, lost. He had never once imagined that he was gone forever. "Why are you telling me this now?" Oliver asked. Caleb reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver chain, a necklace, Ethan's necklace. A guitar-shaped pendant Oliver had bought him for his 15th birthday. "This was all I could save," Caleb murmured. "I've carried it for 2 years. I was too scared to come forward, but I couldn't keep living with it." Oliver took the necklace in trembling fingers. Memories flooded him. Ethan laughing, Ethan teasing him, Ethan playing music in their tiny living room. A life cut short because of a mistake, a wrong place, a wrong moment. Footsteps echoed behind them. Oliver turned sharply. 3 men stepped out from the fog, dark coats, gloves, expressionless faces. The same men, Oliver realized. The ones who had been at the warehouse. "Caleb," one of them said calmly, "we told you to stay quiet." Caleb froze, fear widening his eyes. Oliver's pulse pounded in his ears. "You hurt my brother," Oliver growled. The tallest man stepped forward. "It was an accident. But we can't let you walk away with what you know." Oliver backed away slowly, gripping the railing. The river hissed softly below, black and relentless. Caleb whispered, "I'm sorry, Oliver." As the men advanced, Oliver felt something sharp inside him ignite, a rage he had never known. Ethan's necklace dug into his palm as he clenched it. "This ends today," he said. A shout broke out, then a struggle. Caleb threw himself at one of the men, giving Oliver a split second to run. He dashed toward the far end of the bridge, heart hammering, footsteps thundering behind him. A siren wailed in the distance. Someone must have called earlier. Maybe a fisherman, maybe luck, maybe fate giving Oliver the second chance he had stopped believing in. Flashlights cut through the fog. Police officers burst onto the bridge. The 3 men froze. Within seconds, they were forced to the ground and handcuffed. Caleb collapsed to his knees, shaking. Oliver leaned against the railing, breathless, staring at the river that had swallowed his brother. When the officers approached, Oliver lifted his hand. In his palm, the necklace gleamed faintly in the fading light. "This belonged to my brother," he said quietly. "I finally know the truth." Caleb looked up, tears streaking his face. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to let him slip away. Ethan was my best friend." Oliver nodded slowly. For the first time in 2 years, the crushing weight on his chest loosened. The truth hurt more than he imagined, but lies had hurt him far worse. He closed his fist around the necklace. "I can't bring him back," he said, voice steady. "But I can make sure no one forgets him." The fog lifted slightly, revealing a pale sliver of moonlight over the water. Oliver stood there until the last of the police cars disappeared into the night, until the bridge was empty again, until the river carried its secret somewhere far, far away. Then he whispered Ethan's name into the darkness, not in grief, but in remembrance, and for the first time, it didn't echo back as pain. The last letter, part 2. After the bridge. After that night under the bridge, Oliver's life changed in ways he never expected. The final letter Ethan left behind kept echoing in his mind, each sentence feeling like it carried another hidden truth beneath it. Days passed, but Oliver found no peace. Caleb had been arrested, yes, but the group behind Ethan's death had not been exposed. The police worked slowly, too slowly, and Oliver knew he couldn't leave Ethan's story unfinished. One quiet morning, he found a new letter inside his mailbox. No name, no address, just a black wax seal. Oliver's heartbeat quickened as he opened it. Inside was only one line. He wasn't with Ethan that night. Keep searching. No signature, no clue. Oliver rushed to the police, but they dismissed it, saying someone was probably trying to scare him. But Oliver knew better. Someone was guiding him. Someone who knew the truth. That night, Oliver tried restarting Ethan's damaged phone. It wouldn't turn on, but the memory card was intact. He inserted it into his computer and froze. There was a single audio file titled Night Talks. He pressed play. Ethan's voice, and another man, calm, older, confident. The unknown man spoke of Caleb, of threats, of fixing mistakes, of making things disappear. The more Oliver listened, the more the second voice sounded familiar. Painfully familiar. It was the voice of a police lieutenant, a man Ethan had trusted, a man meant to protect him. Oliver's hands trembled. Ethan's death wasn't chaos. It was planned. The next day, Oliver watched the lieutenant inside the station. The moment Oliver mentioned the audio file, the lieutenant stiffened, fear flickering in his eyes. A guilty fear. That evening, a knock came at Oliver's door. When he opened it, he found Professor Miles, Ethan's former teacher, a quiet, thoughtful man Ethan admired. Miles stepped inside and whispered, "I sent the letter. Ethan came to me weeks before, scared. He gave me copies of everything. Your brother didn't die by accident, Oliver. If you keep digging, they will try to silence you too. But together, we can expose them all." Oliver felt something shift inside him. The bridge, the empty streets, the night Ethan vanished. Everything suddenly aligned. This time, he wasn't just fighting for Ethan's memory. He was fighting for truth. And somewhere deep in his heart, Oliver realized something. Ethan's last letter wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The Last Letter, Part 3. The Hidden Truth. 3 weeks had passed since Professor Miles revealed the truth about Ethan's last days. 3 weeks since Oliver discovered that Ethan's disappearance was not an accident. It was a cover-up involving criminals, and the police lieutenant who was supposed to protect him. But Oliver still wanted more. Truth, justice, closure, none of it felt complete. He knew someone else was still out there. Someone who kept sending him those cryptic letters. One, the photo. It was a cold Saturday morning when Oliver found a new envelope under his car windshield. This one was different, thicker, heavier, sealed with the same black wax. He opened it immediately. Inside was a photograph. Ethan, standing next to a man Oliver had never seen before. Mid-40s, sharp gaze, long coat, serious posture. On the back of the photo, a message. He betrayed Ethan first. Oliver froze. Who was this man? He rushed to Professor Miles' apartment. Miles studied the photo carefully, eyes narrowing. "I know him," Miles whispered. "That's Adrian Locke, a former intelligence agent. Ethan contacted him shortly before he died." "Why would Ethan talk to an agent?" Oliver asked, heart pounding. Miles sighed. Because the men at the warehouse weren't just criminals. They were part of something bigger. 2. The warehouse revelation. Miles took Oliver to an old underground storage room beneath the university library. Dusty shelves, boxes, old computers. Ethan's secret research. Ethan had been investigating a trafficking network, one that stretched across the city. He had files, photos, maps, everything he needed to expose them. and Adrian Locke was once part of the same network. Miles opened Ethan's notebook. AL betrayed us. Caleb warned me. I must tell Oliver. If anything happens, he'll know who to blame. Oliver's breath caught. Adrian Locke wasn't the hero Ethan thought he was. He was the reason Ethan had been watched. The reason the criminals found him that night. The reason Ethan died. 3. The confrontation. Oliver went to the police, but the lieutenant he exposed earlier had allies. The officers dismissed the evidence, telling him to go home and stop digging. So Oliver made a decision. He would find Adrian Locke himself. That night, Oliver tracked him to a private club downtown. Inside, the lights were low, the air thick with smoke, and wealthy men spoke in hushed voices. Adrian sat at the bar, alone, a glass of whiskey in hand. Oliver approached him slowly. You knew Ethan Marsh? Adrian didn't flinch. You must be Oliver, he said calmly. I wondered when you'd find me. Why did you betray him? Oliver hissed. Adrian sighed, rubbing his temples. I didn't betray him. I tried to protect him, but I was too late. Oliver felt rage rising. I saw the files. Ethan wrote your initials. He warned that you were the reason he was in danger. Adrian shook his head. That night, he began, voice low and steady. Ethan wasn't running from the criminals. He was running to me. He wanted to give me evidence to help expose the network. But someone else followed him. Not the men you think. Oliver stared. Then who? Adrian leaned closer. Someone close to him. Someone he trusted. 4. The unexpected name. Adrian slid a USB drive across the counter. Ethan gave me this before he died. I didn't know how to reach you until the police lieutenant was arrested. Oliver took the drive, confused. Who followed Ethan that night? Tell me. Adrian hesitated. It was Caleb. Oliver froze. That's impossible, he whispered. Caleb was Ethan's best friend. He risked everything to tell the truth. Adrian shook his head. That boy is smarter than he looks. He was working for them, the criminals, the whole time. He didn't mean to kill Ethan, but he didn't save him either. Oliver felt sick. Everything began to shift again. The story he believed, the confession Caleb gave, the apology, was it all a lie? 5. Caleb's escape. The next morning, Oliver rushed to the detention center. Caleb was gone. He had escaped during the night. A guard told Oliver quietly, someone bailed him out. A man with a long coat, Adrian Locke. Oliver understood immediately. Adrian didn't betray Ethan. He was protecting him. And now he was protecting Caleb for a reason. But why? Inside the USB drive, Oliver found photos of Ethan at the warehouse, documents linking the police lieutenant to the criminal network, voice recordings of Caleb meeting with the criminals, maps of safe houses, and one short video Ethan recorded days before his death. Oliver pressed play. Ethan's face appeared on the screen, pale but determined. Oliver, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I didn't want to drag you into this. But Caleb isn't who he seems. He's working with them. He said he'd help me, but I think he'll deliver me to them instead. Be careful. Don't trust anyone. Oliver felt tears blur his vision. His brother had died alone, scared, betrayed, and now Caleb was free again. 6. The final twist. At sunset, Oliver received a text from an unknown number. Alderbridge, midnight, come alone. His blood chilled. It was the same message Ethan received 2 years ago. Oliver arrived at the bridge. Fog curled over the water. Moonlight shimmered on the planks. Caleb stepped out from the shadows. Hello, Oliver. Oliver clenched his fists. You lied. You used Ethan. You used me. Caleb smiled, a cold, unfamiliar smile. I told you part of the truth. Just enough to survive. Ethan was supposed to join us, but he got scared. He tried to run, and accidents happen. Rage surged through Oliver. You pushed him. Caleb shrugged. I did what I had to. Suddenly, headlights appeared from the other side of the bridge. A black SUV skidded to a stop. Adrian Locke stepped out with 2 agents. Caleb Hartley, Adrian shouted. You're under arrest for conspiracy, murder and obstruction. Caleb backed away, panicked. You set me up, he screamed at Oliver. You traitor. Oliver stepped forward, voice steady. No, you betrayed Ethan. This ends tonight. Caleb lunged toward the railing, trying to escape, but Adrian's agents tackled him, finally bringing an end to the years of lies. 7. The last goodbye. When the police left, Oliver stood alone at the edge of the bridge, breathing deeply. Adrian approached him. Ethan was braver than all of us, he said softly. He exposed the network. You finished what he started. Oliver nodded. For the first time, I feel like he can rest. Adrian placed a hand on his shoulder. If you want, I can help you make sure his story is told, publicly, truthfully. Oliver looked out at the river, the same river that took Ethan's life. No more secrets, he whispered. No more lies. He took Ethan's necklace from his pocket, held it tightly, and let it fall into the water, watching as the current carried it away gently, not in sorrow, but in peace. The story wasn't over, but the pain was finally letting go. The last letter, part 4, the shadow within, this. This thing is real? It's not a man, it's a presence. Scene 3, the mirror test. Stand in front of the mirror, she said. What for? She turned off the lights. Now, she whispered, look at your reflection. Ethan stared, then a silhouette. Still, his breath stopped. She didn't answer. Lena was gone. The only thing he heard was a whisper behind his ear. Scene 4, the realization. Ethan stumbled backward, gasping. Lena reappeared in the doorway as if nothing happened. She asked quietly, then, Ethan, as you need to understand something. Part 4, the shadow within. The darkness you fear is not coming for you. Ethan dropped the paper. His shadow on the wall began to move. And then it smiled. Ethan stepped back. Lena nodded slowly. It's not even alive, and it's been following your family for years. Lena led Ethan to the bathroom. Ethan frowned, to see if he's already attached himself to you. Only faint moonlight filled the room, but observe the darkness behind you. At first he saw nothing. A shape shifted behind him, tall, matching his movements with a half-second delay. Lena, do you see that? He looked beside him. The door slowly creaked shut on its own. You can't run from what you are. Lights flickered on. The silhouette vanished. You heard him, didn't you? Ethan nodded, trembling. She said, stepping closer with fear in her eyes. She handed him a final envelope marked. The letter read, "It is coming from you." Lena took a step back, even though he wasn't. The night after uncovering the truth about the hidden figure, Ethan couldn't sleep. His mind kept replaying the final line from the third letter. What you fear the most already lives inside you. He didn't know what it meant. Was it a warning? A threat? Or something far more personal? Scene 1, the unexpected return. The next morning, Ethan opened his door and froze. A woman was standing there. Not just any woman, Lena. The one he thought was gone forever. Her hair was wet from the rain. Her eyes filled with exhaustion. But she was alive. Ethan, we don't have much time, she whispered. They know you found the letters. Ethan's voice trembled. Lena, what is happening? Why did you disappear? Who are they? She grabbed his wrist tighter than he expected. You need to trust me. Everything started the night we saw that man on the bridge. You think the letters were warnings? They were instructions. Scene 2, the hidden notebook. Lena handed Ethan a small leather notebook. This belonged to your father, she said. He wasn't just writing letters. He was documenting the people who went missing. The same people following you now. Ethan flipped through it. Names, dates, symbols. But one page made his blood run cold. A sketch of a shadow-like figure with the caption, "He grows stronger when you fear him." The last letter, part 5, the face of the shadow. Ethan stood frozen, the letter slipping from his hand as his shadow continued moving on its own. Lena stared at him, fear tightening her face. Ethan, he finally recognized you. Ethan's voice cracked. Why me? Why my family? What does he want? Lena took a deep breath. Because he wasn't just following you. He was born from you. Ethan felt the air leave his lungs. On scene 1, the broken memory, Lena guided Ethan toward the living room. Ethan, you don't remember. But you went missing once when you were a child. Ethan shook his head. No, that never happened. Lena picked up an old folder from the table and placed it in his hands. Everyone said you were found the same night. But no one mentioned what was found. Inside were medical reports. One line stood out. Child healthy. But his shadow does not respond normally. Ethan whispered, "My shadow didn't move?" Lena nodded. Something else came back with you. Something that wasn't you. On scene 2, the basement, truth below. She led him to the basement door. What's down there? Ethan asked. Answers, Lena said quietly. The moment they entered, Ethan saw dozens of drawings taped on the walls, drawings of him as a child. In every picture, his shadow was missing. Then he spotted an old videotape labeled, "Ethan, age 6. Lena reached for it. "You don't want to watch that." Ethan snatched it away. "I have to." They played the tape. A younger Ethan stood in front of the camera. "Ethan, smile," the person behind the camera said. The child smiled, but behind him, there was no shadow. Suddenly the screen flickered. The child's face darkened, his eyes sinking into hollows. The child whispered, "I will return." The tape cut to black. On scene 3, the shadow's first face, Ethan stepped back, breathing hard. "So he's been with me since I was 6? Lena nodded. "He attached himself to you. But now he's independent, because your fear made him stronger." A loud thud echoed from upstairs. Someone, or something, was inside the house. Lena tightened her grip on Ethan's hand. "He found you." Ethan trembled. "I can't fight him." Lena whispered, "You don't understand. He isn't your shadow." Ethan swallowed. "Then what is he?" From above, a voice hissed, "I am what you were meant to become." Scene 4, The Divide. Dark smoke drifted down the stairs, swirling into a human shape. Ethan's shadow stretched across the wall, then tore itself free. It stepped forward, alive. Its eyes glowed, and then it smiled. The voice came from everywhere at once. "You fed me every time you were afraid. Now I'm whole." Ethan shouted, "I won't let you take my life." The shadow laughed. "You don't have to let me. I already replaced you." For the first time, Ethan saw its true face. His own, but darker, hollow, twisted. Lena gasped. "So this is the real face." Ethan whispered, "He's everything I buried, everything I denied." The shadow stepped closer. "And now I'll erase you. I am the true Ethan." On scene 5, The Last Choice, Lena pressed a small metal object into Ethan's hand. "This will remind you," she said. "You chose light once." Ethan looked down. It was half of a small childhood charm, one he thought he lost forever. The shadow recoiled as if burned. Lena whispered, "He fears what you used to be." Ethan's eyes sharpened. "If I created you, then I can destroy you." The shadow screamed, "Try." The air trembled. Cold swept across the room. Ethan raised the charm. The shadow lunged. Ethan closed his eyes. A burst of blinding light filled the basement. The last letter, final part, the last dawn. The shadow's scream tore through the basement, shaking dust from the rafters. Ethan felt the last fragments of the lost child memory settle into him, like a limb reunited with the body after years of numbness. He wasn't whole yet, but he was finally more than the hunted. The shadow staggered, its dark form glitching like a broken reflection. "You were never supposed to remember," it growled. "You were supposed to fear." Ethan stepped forward, feeling the gold warmth of the charm pulse in his palm. "I'm done fearing you." Lena stood behind him, breathing hard, pale but steady. "Ethan, finish it." Scene 1, The Shadow's Secret. The shadow leaned against the wall like a wounded beast, but its grin sharpened when Ethan got closer. "You think you've won?" it whispered. "You don't even know what that charm is." Ethan paused. "What are you talking about?" The shadow's smile widened. "The charm isn't a memory. It's a seal." Ethan froze. Lena frowned. "A seal for what?" The shadow lifted a single finger and tapped its own hollow chest. "For me." The air turned ice cold. Ethan stared at the charm. Its warm glow suddenly felt heavy, ancient, dangerous. "You mean someone bound you?" Ethan whispered. "Yes," the shadow hissed. "His father." Lena blinked. "His father?" Ethan staggered back as something clicked. Inside his mind, an old memory unlocking, like a rusted door. A tall man, a dim room, a charm placed around Ethan's small neck, a voice trembling with fear. "If he comes for you again, this will hold him back." Ethan gasped. "My dad knew." The shadow nodded. "He did more than know. He summoned me." The basement went dead silent. Ethan shook his head. No, that's impossible." "My dad, he was a good man. He was desperate," the shadow said. "Your mother was dying. He sought help beyond the light. He called me from the door you later opened as a child. But I came hungry, and I found you." Lena covered her mouth. Ethan backed away, heart pounding. "He summoned you? And you attached to me instead?" "Of course," the shadow whispered lovingly. "You were full of fear, so easy to shape." Ethan clenched the charm. "Then why did he seal you?" "Because he realized what I was becoming," the shadow said with a snarl. "But it was too late. I had tasted your fear, your loneliness, and you kept feeding me for years." The charm flickered. Ethan's throat tightened. All the nightmares, all the vanished memories, the missing time. "So what now?" he whispered. The shadow straightened, regaining its strength. "Now you break the seal completely, and I become what I was always meant to be." Scene 2, split in two. The shadow lunged. Ethan barely dodged as its claws tore through the cement floor. Lena grabbed Ethan. "Run! If we stay down here, he'll trap us." Ethan nodded and dashed toward the stairs. The shadow roared. "You can't escape what you are!" It launched after them, the walls bending unnaturally as it passed. They reached the living room just as the lights exploded overhead. Ethan turned, raising the charm. Gold light flashed, forming a barrier. The shadow hit the invisible wall and shrieked. "You're weakening me, but I can weaken you too." It thrust its arm toward Ethan, and a sudden cold tore through his chest. Ethan fell to his knees. Lena screamed, "Ethan!" The shadow laughed. "You reabsorbed that lost fragment. But you're fragile. You took back a wound, not a strength." Ethan pressed a hand to the floor, trembling. "No, not now." He couldn't collapse now. Lena knelt beside him, gripping his face. "Ethan, stay with me. Listen to me. He wants you to break. Don't give him what he wants." Her voice steadied him. Ethan rose slowly, and something happened. His shadow rose with him. Not the monster. His own shadow. Strong, solid, complete. For the first time in decades, Lena gasped. "Ethan, it's whole again." The shadow's grin faltered. Ethan stared at his reunited shadow and felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not pain. Resolve. Scene 3. The final door. The shadow backed away, but only for a moment. Then it pointed toward the basement. "You restored yourself. But I can still win. The door you opened as a child is still beneath your house." Ethan stiffened. Lena whispered, "There's a door. Under the basement?" "Yes," the shadow growled. "And if I reach it?" The seal breaks forever. The floor trembled. Stone cracked. A dark wind swept upward from below the house, whispering, beckoning, calling. The shadow began sinking through the floor like smoke drawn into a vent. Ethan grabbed Lena's hand. "We have to follow him. If he opens that door, he won't just take my life. He'll take everything." Lena nodded, terrified but unwavering. "Then let's finish this." They ran back down the basement stairs. The fissure in the floor had widened, revealing a massive stone slab covered in old markings. The shadow stood before it, its body stretching and shifting as if feeding on the darkness below. Ethan shouted, "Stop!" The shadow turned, its body twice as tall now, limbs elongated, hollow face splitting with a grin. "You're too late." It placed its hand on the slab. The markings ignited with black fire. A door of pure dark began to open. Ethan felt the pull immediately, like the universe trying to tear him apart. Lena clung to him. "Ethan, don't let it take you!" He raised the charm. Gold light burst from it, clashing with the darkness. The room shook violently as both forces collided. The shadow roared in fury. "You cannot hold me back forever. Your light is borrowed." Ethan shouted over the storm of shadows. "And your darkness was stolen." His shadow stepped forward, merging with his body. The charm flared like a newborn sun. The shadow staggered. No, you are fear. You belong to me." Ethan stepped toward him, the ground glowing gold under his feet. "I belong to you." Until I remembered who I was. Scene 4. The last confrontation. The shadow charged. Ethan met it head on. Light and darkness collided like two worlds crashing. The basement walls cracked open, showing glimpses of the void beyond the door. Swirling black storms, shifting shapes, ancient whispers. Ethan felt the shadow, trying to tear into him again, trying to reclaim the missing fragment. But this time Ethan didn't resist. He embraced it. The fear, the pain, the childhood he lost, the part of himself stolen long ago. And the shadow screamed, "What are you doing? Stop!" Ethan whispered through clenched teeth, "I'm taking back everything you stole." Light erupted from his chest, gold, warm, human. The shadow shrieked as the light pierced through it, tearing its form apart thread by thread. No, you can't exist without me!" Ethan shouted. "I'm not destroying you. I'm ending your hold on me." The shadow's body cracked like glass. "Ethan, please, we are the same." Ethan stepped closer, voice steady. "No, we're not. You're what I created, not what I am." He placed the charm against the shadow's chest. The light detonated. The shadow exploded into a million black fragments that dissolved into smoke, then into nothing. The dark door slammed shut. The markings faded. The basement fell silent. Ethan collapsed. Lena caught him before he hit the floor. "It's over," she whispered, tears running down her face. "You did it." Ethan breathed shakily. For the first time, he felt truly alive. Scene 5, the last letter. The next morning, sunlight filled the house. Real sunlight. Warm without distortion. Ethan stood in the living room, holding a blank envelope. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from clarity. Inside the envelope was a single piece of paper. He wrote slowly, deliberately. "This is my last letter. Not to him, to myself. The part I lost long ago. I'm sorry it took so long to come back. But I'm here now, and I'm not afraid." He folded it, sealed it, and placed it on the table. Lena approached, smiling softly. "Ready?" Ethan nodded. They stepped outside into the new dawn. Ethan looked at the ground beside him. A normal shadow stretched at his feet. No distortion, no movement, just his. He exhaled. "Finally," he whispered, "I'm whole." The house behind them was quiet. The dark door was gone. And for the first time since childhood, Ethan no longer felt watched. He took Lena's hand. They walked forward. The sun rose higher, and the shadow never returned. The end.